Hi guys, welcome to this focus activity 10 to 13. Lead the way with me, Angela, and my colleague who's just joining us now. Hi, Seth.
Hello. You
Welcome.
look nice today, Angela. Your hair's pulled back.
Thank
You look
you.
nice.
Thank you very much. You always look nice, Seth. Well,
Okay.
we're just
I
waiting
feel like
for.
my camera always makes me look very white. I don't know. Like
I
very
think it's the
washed
lighting.
out, you know?
I think it's the lighting.
Yeah, but I
You may
mean,
have a
I've
window.
tried different turning lights on. Yeah, I'm
You
just
tried.
always very pale. Whatever. Oh, wow.
Hi,
Jumped up to
Flavia's
7
here.
people. Wow.
Fantastic. It's great. Hi, Flavia.
Let me
She's a regular.
Do you want to introduce yourself and I'll start getting things ready for our lesson?
All right. Hi, Gianni. The regulars are here. Flavia, Gianni. All right, guys,
The
as you
regulars
know.
are here.
Yeah. And Anna's here too. Anna, we know you, so that's great. All right, guys.
Yeah.
Well, I think we don't need to introduce ourselves. Oh no, we do. There are some new faces here. Okay, new names. All right, guys, my name is Angela, and I'm a teacher here at my English school in Meravili in Milan. And I am from Nepal, as some of you might know, with my colleague here, Seth.
Yes, I'm Seth from the United States. I also, teach with Angela Meravigli. I think, Angela, I've been having lots of internet trouble today.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know, maybe it's a heavy internet day. So I'm going to turn off my camera just because
I was thinking of doing the
it's gonna
same.
help.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'll do
So
the same.
I'm still here. I'm just it can just kind of help. So oh, and in that case, then I can go this way. I can make the screen even bigger.
Done.
Do you want me to share it? Because I think sometimes
Okay, yeah. I'll stop sharing.
Yeah, if you want to remove it, yeah, and
Okay,
then I'll
done.
share because
All right.
we in general I have really good internet at my house. So
yeah.
And then that way you can relax and I'll be in charge of remembering to actually do the
exactly.
I often forget.
Yeah.
Wasn't it last week where we had the lesson where I was like we were talking and talking because you were waiting for me and I was waiting for you?
Exactly.
All right.
Yes, you're exactly right.
Well, so this lesson, if you want to read what we're doing today, it's kind of a nice one, especially
it's a very nice
because maybe next potential changes to our lives.
All right, so in this focus activity, compound adjectives, idioms, discussion on what makes a good leader. Yay.
Yeah, so lots of things in here, but a bit of a review about also some future stuff. And so that can maybe be useful. Because next, everyone's talking about the future lately. So
yeah.
First, I suppose we can read this quote. It's kind of boring.
Yeah.
Warren Bennett. For us.
Yeah, Warren Bennett says, leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. Quite nice. I don't know who he is, though. So, who is he?
I don't know who he is either, but usually when we quote someone, it's the idea that they're famous. I don't know who he is.
We'll have to Google him later. Right.
Well, when you were working for Qatar, for the airlines, you were in a position of leadership, weren't you?
Yes, I was. I was a cabin services director with Qatar Airways for 10 years. I worked in Qatar for 14 years, and I climbed the ladder pretty quickly. And yeah, for 10 years, I was a cabin services director. And yes, it was a position of leadership, of responsibility, a lot of headaches, and a lot of stress. But
Some
of
of your
course, it was
stories are
very
very,
nice.
very interesting. When you've told me before, I'm like, wow, it's like you could make a TV show. I think a reality show about
Ex-
working for an airline would probably be very
exactly.
successful.
It would, yes, definitely. Yes, very, very interesting life. Yeah.
I imagine. I imagine.
Hmm. Yes,
Um,
yes.
Here we have a few things. So again, you guys at home, Angela and I will start sort of talking about these questions, but please feel
Hmm.
free to start, sharing um, any questions or any your answers to any of these things, any comments, opinions,
Yeah, let's,
anything you want to share with
yeah, for
us.
example, let's
Well,
brainstorm a list of different types of leaders. Who is the most influential leader you know of? Why? Think of achievements, personality, etc. How would you describe a good leader, a bad leader? Oh, while you're writing your answers, Seth and myself, we're going to be, excuse me, today I'm like, I'm not feeling, I'm a bit under the weather today. So, Seth and myself are going to be talking about some of the leaders who are very popular at the moment, or maybe unpopular, like Seth's president, the wonderful
who,
Donald
depending on
Trump.
who you speak to, is not doing the best job. Oh,
Exactly.
goodness.
Yes. But yeah, what are your thoughts, Seth? I would like to hear from, a colleague and an American. So, what are your thoughts at the moment?
My president, about Donald Trump.
Yeah, about his leadership.
Well, so for me, it's an interesting answer because I haven't
Mm-hmm,
lived in the United States for any of his presidency, for any of the
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
period. So I know
mm-hmm,
that I have, which which does mean that I'm not quite, I haven't been able to, let's say, feel the cultural attitude of the United States right now.
mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it gives me sort of, it's easier for us who live on the outside to look inside
True.
because we're
You're
not
right.
in it, you know?
Exactly.
So what I have found interesting is like my friends like watching Facebook and stuff.
Mm-hmm,
The anger, there's a lot of anger in the United States about him,
mm-hmm,
either
mm-hmm,
people who like him or people who don't like him.
mm-hmm,
Um, but to the point where his election and being elected caused a very, very big division in the
mm-hmm,
country. And it
mm-hmm,
was interesting, like how angry people were over that. And I I didn't feel that anger. I don't think that he is the best choice at all.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
But I didn't feel the anger that people felt. But also because I don't know, like he's given a lot of people. He's not very well spoken.
mm-hmm,
So well spoken. That's kind of an interesting expression to use. But if we say that someone is well spoken, it means that the way, like the words they choose to use, are
mm-hmm,
appropriate for their position.
mm-hmm,
And so, a president shouldn't be like the fact that he twitters, or that he
mm-hmm,
tweets, that he uses Twitter. It's not very professional, let's say. It's not,
mm-hmm,
I know that a lot of presidents and a lot of leaders around the world use Twitter, but
mm-hmm,
even when they write a tweet,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
they write it in a way that's appropriate for their position, and he
mm-hmm.
does not. He calls people names,
Yeah,
uses
I was
very
wondering.
colloquial language.
Yeah, I was wondering. I mean, he must be having like a whole, a committee or proofreaders and editors, for his tweets. And how come these
Well, this is
tweets,
the thing is
you
it's
know.
he doesn't. At the beginning when he started tweeting a lot, people his yeah, exactly, his committee, the people
Mm-hmm,
were saying you can't, but he you can't do this, you need to check. But he was
mm-hmm,
like, I don't care. I'm the president. I don't even, I mean, it has a lot to do with him, you know, his background. He was a businessman before
mm-hmm,
he was president. And as a
mm-hmm,
businessman, he was, I mean, business, you know, big business, American big business. He was, we say cutthroat, he was
mm-hmm.
very good at business,
Yeah,
but
that's
now
nice.
he's sort of running the country using these rules that don't
Mm-hmm,
apply to politics. And it's a lot of
mm-hmm,
difficulty because he's not working in the way that politicians have always sort of, you know, the
mm-hmm,
art of politics is saying things in a delicate way to get things done, and he doesn't do that. And
mm-hmm.
oof, we have a few people who said some things to check out though. Gandhi
Yeah.
says, I'm
That's,
thinking about well-known people such as Barack Obama or the Pope or
mm-hmm,
Nelson Mandela. So those
mm-hmm,
would probably be examples of maybe very
mm-hmm.
strong. Of course, you know, people have different opinions about Barack
Yep.
Obama, the Pope, Nelson Mandela, but in general, as leaders, very
Mm-hmm,
strong leaders. But
mm-hmm.
I don't think that Donald Trump is a strong leader. He's a leader. Yes, he is a leader, but I don't
Yeah,
think
he's a
he's a
leader in his own
strong
right.
leader.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Flavia says a good leader in a
uh,
company is someone who is able to communicate with his team, open to change his mind, and admit his mistakes. Huh, good one there, Flavia.
yeah.
A bad leader is
A
someone.
bad leader is someone who
Yeah.
is more than a leader or a boss, so like becomes like a dictator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you say,
Um,
you command respect. Okay. You don't demand respect.
yeah, those are nice things. Though in English, we often talk about commanding respect, which means
Mm-hmm.
you are respected because you're the way you act.
Mm-hmm.
People want to respect you. It's easy
Mm-hmm.
to respect someone who because of the way, like who's someone right now, like a world leader who commands respect. Um, So someone who's respected because they are, but
I
because they're a good leader, so you don't feel bad respecting.
I think Justin
Um,
Trudeau is quite respected, isn't he?
yeah,
Yeah, I would say he's quite
yeah.
a popular
Of
leader.
course, there are people that don't like that. I mean,
Of
in
course,
politics, of
there's always,
course, you know,
yeah.
but but if you command respect, it's usually the idea that you're doing well. You're doing like a
Mm-hmm.
boss that commands respect is a boss who is kind of like how Flavia said,
Mm-hmm.
who's, oh, you know, you trust the person, and so the respect comes naturally, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to someone who demands respect, who, you know, says, I'm your boss, you must respect me, and well, then there's no
Yeah.
respect at all for that
Yeah,
person.
exactly. Then
So
it's probably because you're scared to lose your job or, things like that. It's not out of respect, it's more out of fear of
yeah,
losing something, right? Yes.
yeah.
So, yeah, Donald Trump is
If
always
I'm thinking in the second question,
Mhm.
yeah, he's an interesting
He's a very
character, but
interesting person.
the
Yeah.
thing that I don't like is that he's giving, yeah, well, and he's giving a lot of people, excuse me, you know, because as the president, he he also sort of sets an example that other
Mm-hmm.
people follow, and
Mm-hmm.
because he, and this is what I've seen mostly in the United States that I don't like a lot, that I find very, very difficult, is
Mm-hmm.
like I love my country, you know, I mean, I'm very proud to be from. I think I'm from, in general, a good country,
Mm-hmm.
but like when he says something, when he calls someone names in Twitter,
Mm-mm.
it lets other people then feel that they're allowed to do that too,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you
exactly. We
know?
have to lead by
So, and
example.
because, yeah, and is powerful, he's the president of a very powerful nation. So if he, yeah, if his example, if the example he gives is a poor example,
Mm-hmm.
people still think though, yeah, but he's president, so I can do that too. And then you have
Mm-hmm.
a lot of, I think that the United States has always had big problems with racism. It's part of
Mm-hmm.
our, unfortunately, but the way that the country developed over
Mm-hmm.
time with slavery and the native people,
Mm-hmm.
racism is a big issue in the United States, and I do think that he's increased that because he's
Mm-hmm.
allowed, because of the way he talks about other
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Those people are like that.
He's
I
given the general population the liberty to actually express themselves in
Yeah,
on
yeah.
that
So
platform. So yeah, maybe there are obviously there are good pros and cons to his presidency, but I think there are a few things that would could be
that to me
underlined.
is a very negative.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Jenny says, I would describe a good leader as a person you can rely on, forward thinking, open minded, and with a certain level of humility as well. Very nice. Very good.
Very nice, Danny. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Ricardo says a leader has to be leaders, plural, leaders have to
Mhm.
be people who aren't arrogant and that respect others, who respect all people and have to be humble but strong in the decision. Yeah. So it's
Mhm.
not an easy thing to do because I mean, as soon as you're a leader,
Uh-huh.
some people are going to like you and some people are not, and that's just normal. But I think the difficulty is as you become more powerful,
Yeah.
decision of how you're going to use your power. So
Yeah.
in a work environment, leadership is very different than leading a nation,
Oh,
leading a
yeah.
country, and leading a group. Very different. So
Yeah.
do you think with question number two, Angela, do you have any people in your life, like specific bosses or um,
Mhm.
or that you think of, like people who maybe helped you in how you
Yeah.
are now, or
Yeah, exactly.
good
I
ones,
was just
bad
thinking.
ones?
I was thinking about my ex-boss. Some of you might know him. He's the CEO of Qatar Airways. His name is Akbar Al Bakr. He was a hardliner, very, very strong. Okay. But I always found that he was just and he was fair. I mean, there were times he would get upset because he looked into every detail, and he is still a very, very hardworking man. But I remember that, if we were sick, like he would pick up the phone and actually call every individual, like what happened, because he felt that we were his responsibility. We were away from our parents, away from our countries, and he would do things like that. So absolutely, I think he is one of the leaders that I do look up to even now. What about
Hmm.
you? Same question
Oh,
for you.
yeah. I'm thinking of, I mean, I'll just in order to share the opposite side, a negative side, I was thinking
Mhm.
of a boss. One of my first teaching jobs, I worked in China, and
Mhm.
I worked with children, and um, I once my boss came to me. I know that a lot of this had to do with his position. He was also quite young, and so I think he was afraid to maybe he hadn't learned yet to be vocal. He hadn't learned yet maybe to stand up in
Mhm.
when things need, to defend himself. But one time he came to me because I was teaching children, and
Mhm.
so every few months we had little exams.
Mhm.
And it was my first, like the first time with this company that I was doing those exams,
Mhm.
and several of my students didn't pass.
Mhm.
And he came to me and he was like, "What happened here?" And I was like, "Well, what do you mean?" He was like, "Why didn't these students pass?" And I
Mhm.
said, "Well, we did the exam and they
Mhm.
didn't pass. Like, I don't. And he said, well, the main problem was if they didn't pass, then maybe they wouldn't renew. So it came down to money. And for
Ah.
him, then
Mhm.
his boss, if people didn't renew, his boss would come on him and say, your
Mm-mm.
numbers are down. So he wasn't strong
Mm-mm.
enough to maybe and it put me actually in the end, it's part of the reason I left the job, because for me it became a matter of integrity of
Mm-hmm.
like, I children are not learning. I don't want
Mm-hmm.
to pass them just because of money. I mean, we're a school. I mean, we cheapen the whole school, you know?
Exactly.
And and so it became one of the reasons when my contract was ending that I looked for another job. I actually enjoyed the job quite a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but I always got in trouble when my students failed. And I mean, part of that does look at the teacher. Is the teacher doing a bad job? I don't
Mm-hmm.
think that I was. I mean, there were little kids who were, I mean, I was teaching 3-year-olds English. I mean, so it's not like we were doing really hard stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
these were just little kids who weren't ready learning
Mm-hmm.
English yet, and they weren't
Mm-hmm.
learning well, but they weren't passing, you know. But for me, I learned that from him sort of, because I remember yelling at him one day, not yelling at him, but we got into a bit of like an argument, because I was like, you're asking me to not do my job, you're asking me to make money, and I
Mm-hmm.
putting me in a difficult situation because I'm
Mm-hmm.
a teacher. So
Uh-huh.
what do you want me to do, you know? So
Mm-hmm.
it was difficult. But
Difficult. What
anyway,
about you
let's go on to the
guys?
next part, which is a
Yeah,
bit of,
anybody that
oh
that
yeah, do
you
you have,
think is an influential leader, guys, hmm in your personal lives?
yeah, like
And
specific
somebody
people
like,
or,
yeah, like how we've explained, it would be
mhm,
interesting to
who
know.
in your life has been an example of a good or bad leader, and
Hmm.
that
Yeah,
is kind of interesting. Next,
yeah,
we get in. Some of you guys were using some of these words already,
yeah.
so some really nice vocab here.
Mhm,
And here we're also looking at, if you see on the screen, these are words that we call compound adjectives, and
mhm,
they're made of usually an adjective and a noun that we're putting together to create an adjective. So that's two words that are functioning together as a new word. And you can see that all of them, when we do this, we put the hyphen,
mhm,
we connect the words with the hyphen. They're functioning
mhm.
together as an adjective.
Hmm.
Do you want to read
Yeah,
everything first, and
absolutely.
then that gives our, you guys at home, you can start matching things.
Okay. So forward thinking, highly respected, strong willed, open minded, level headed, thick skinned. And the other column, it goes on to say disregarded, idealistic, regressive, sensitive, weak, and narrow minded. Oops, there's some more. Okay. The banners are okay. So down to earth and
Yeah,
foolish.
sorry. I was trying to get them out of the way while you were while you were reading, but I didn't do a very good job.
No, no, that's
All
fine.
right.
Right? So, what do you think is the
So
opposite of
these are
forward
pretty,
thinking?
yeah,
Oh,
and these
God.
are pretty advanced words. So at home, if you don't know, if you don't understand, oh goodness, I'm having a hard, there they are. They're all there.
Oh,
If you're not certain about a word, please do ask us specifically, and we'll try to give you guys some examples to help.
hmm.
Um,
So, Jenny says, if I think about the past, I have always considered a leader, my uncle, okay, as a leader who I had admired quite a lot for his personality. Yes, that could happen. If you're thinking about the okay, if I think about the past, I have always considered my
just need to
uncle.
switch the word order
Yeah,
in English. I
exactly.
just wrote a better way, John.
Yeah,
In the We're gonna put these in the other order. I've always considered my uncle to be,
a leader.
yeah.
Hmm, nice.
Mhm.
Because I admired him
Yeah,
a
nice.
lot for his personality. Yeah, that happens.
All right, so let's start looking at these words. And again, at home, if you guys want to match them up,
Okay, so the opposites. We need to match the
what's the
opposites.
guy? Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs would have been very forward thinking,
Oh, yeah.
very forward thinking person.
Hmm.
Steve Jobs with Apple. Um, and the so the opposite of this. Where is it? Where is it? Oh yes, thank you, Johnny. Johnny just
Yeah.
got it.
Forward thinking could also
Regressive. To
be,
regress is to go backwards.
yeah, a
Hmm.
forward thinking person could also be a visionary, somebody who thinks
Yeah.
about, who has a vision, a goal, a target, and sees himself in the future.
Mhm.
Okay.
But that visionary is a word that we use, and like avant-garde, all of these
Hmm.
words that maybe can be
Hmm.
similar sort of words.
Hmm.
Uh, Opposed to regressive.
So,
Let's see. Nice. Anna, thank you. So highly respected would
mhm,
go, yes, I would say with disregarded.
disregarded.
Disregarded, though not used too often. I don't feel like I say
Mhm.
disregarded. I think I use
Why don't you say
disregard more as
disregard?
a verb.
Yeah, exactly. Like disregard that message or something.
Yeah. I think disregard it exists as an adjective, but we're using it
Yeah.
more as a noun or as a verb. Please, yeah, please disregard that message.
Mm-hmm.
Strong-willed, Johnny, thank you. Strong-willed with weak, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Strong-willed person. So weak can be, in this case, weak can be physical. You can be physically
Mm-hmm.
weak, or you can be weak in the sense of your personality. A weak person, a person who's
Yeah.
maybe a weak person, what is kind of a timid person, a fearful person,
Mm-hmm.
someone who
Mentally weak.
doesn't try new things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, with open, so Flavia said thick-skinned with sensitive. When
Yeah.
we get down to that one, I would say that that is correct.
Mm-hmm.
The fifth one, one, two, three, four, level-headed. Johnny
Mm-hmm.
said level-headed and
Foolish.
foolish.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, but let's see. So open-minded. Oh, this one, open-minded is pretty easy because we can
Yeah.
see that the opposite is
Narrow-minded.
very
Yeah. Flavia
similar.
had. Yeah. She said it.
Open-minded.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Open-minded, narrow-minded,
Level.
level-headed. I like this one because it's quite visual, a level head. So
Yeah.
the idea that they are very balanced, level-headed, foolish,
Yeah.
thick-skinned, and I
Level-headed
think
could also
Johnny
be a
said that one too,
sensible
right? Yeah,
person.
thick-skinned and sensitive. And then a sensible, yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Sensible. So a level-headed person is sensible or reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
And then down to earth, opposite, realistic.
Idealistic. Hmm.
A forward-thinking person might also be very idealistic. Those might go together as common, like because if someone's forward-thinking, they're usually thinking of uh, ideas, of a
Mm-hmm.
perfect, a better situation, so an ideal situation. But maybe not so much. You guys, if you have any specific questions about any of the words, please do ask us. What do the words mean, and we'll try and give you some examples. It does seem like you guys know these pretty well, though. You did
Yeah.
a good job.
They seem to know it.
Nice. Thank you
So,
for your help.
yeah,
You
thank you
did
very
the
much.
job. Angela and I didn't have to work.
Exactly. What about some other vocab, regarding leadership? Is there anything else that we've missed out on? Maybe you can give us some ideas,
What I think,
some new
what do
words.
you think, Angela? Like, I think communication pretty quickly, like someone who communicates well,
Oh, yeah.
transparency. To me,
Yep.
transparency is really important.
It's important. Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
and
Yeah.
that's a really common word right now. For things to be
Yeah.
transparent. That's
Yeah.
used a lot
A
lately.
leader who shows
Um,
empathy.
but
Yeah.
it's true. It's very important.
Yeah.
Oh, empathy. That's like
Yeah.
empathetic is a
Mm-hmm.
good one.
So an
Hmm.
empathetic leader. Uh,
Yeah, nice words.
yeah. So those are, yeah, that's the kind of leader I want,
I'm just gonna write
forward
those. The nice
thinking,
words.
highly
Empathy.
respected, strong willed, open minded, open to new ideas,
Yeah.
humble, like most of them wrote earlier. Okay.
Oh,
Level
yeah.
headed.
Yeah.
Okay. Down to earth.
Nice words, though. Good vocab.
Yep.
After this, we have some nice, again, you guys, some really nice questions here. Please feel free to answer a question. If there's a question that you find particularly interesting, maybe you can write the number, and then tell us which one you're answering, and share your answers with us because these are pretty nice.
Oh, very good. See, Anna says an inspired person, yes. And Flavia
We have
also
also so
passionate.
inspirational is a
Yeah,
person who can
inspirational.
inspire others.
Very nice.
Passionate,
Very
inspirational.
good.
Yeah.
Inspirational. So, creative.
Creative. Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Anna's coming up with good words. All right, so leader discussion. Number one, is there such a thing as a natural born leader, or can leadership skills be acquired or learned? Okay, so what do you think? What do you guys think? Please answer these questions. Number two, think of a leader who was not highly respected, but is strong-willed and thick-skinned. Can positive leadership qualities overcome a lack of respect? Number three, do you think strong leaders exhibit more high-spirited and energetic qualities or are more serious and level-headed? Number four, give an example of a leader who was known for her thought-provoking speeches and forward-thinking ideas. Nice. I can think of a couple.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. While you're writing your
Well, how
answers,
about
guys. Yeah, Seth, let's talk about some of these leaders.
so the first one, what do you think about that one? Natural born leader, or do you think you have to learn to be a leader?
Yeah, I read a book about leadership, and it is a mix. Let's say it's a fusion of all these things. You have to be born with a certain set of skills, okay, apparently, and obviously, or you can also teach yourself, so acquired and learn, okay, so you can so it's a good mix of all these things apparently. So I think, yeah, a little bit of this and that helps in making a good leader. What do you think,
Yeah,
Seth?
well, I would think that because I would think a lot of it has to do with from the time from maybe not that well, I mean, I'm sure that there have been even
DNA?
studies, and you said you read a book, but I'm sure there's probably a genetic
Mhm,
component that has to do with your personality, and some of that
mhm,
is sort of, let's say,
mhm,
predetermined. But then I
mhm,
think a lot of it then has to do with probably your upbringing. If
mhm,
you're in school, and if your parents and the situations of your childhood,
mhm,
if you are, if you're sort of raised to be confident, fair, and those
mhm,
things are going to continue on into
mhm.
your. I know, like,
Yeah.
I'm 37 now, so an adult, and I recognize my sister as well. Both of us recognize, like, how much we did learn from our parents, and
Mhm,
when you're a teenager and when you're in your 20s, I don't think you want to think about that.
mhm, mhm,
The fact that you kind of are a product of your childhood, but you are,
mhm.
um, but then all the choices you make sort of develop into what type of leader, and then also having the opportunity to be a leader. Some people never have an
Yeah,
opportunity to be in a.
that's true. Yeah, it depends on what life offers you. And Ricardo says, I think leadership is natural, born, of course. Okay, let me rephrase that. I think leadership is a natural. Can you help me with that, Seth? I'm getting a little
Yeah,
confused with this
yeah,
sentence.
Ricardo, I'm
I
having a little
understand.
trouble following
Yeah,
your whole idea.
yeah.
So
Also, negative. Experience.
There's a natural part. I think it's similar to what we're saying. I
Yeah,
don't
I think
understand what you're saying about the negative thing, Ricardo.
I do good. I do.
Mm.
I
Oh,
think
I
he
think you're
means,
trying to say that even
yeah,
negative experiences
experiences. Yeah,
can help you a
become a good
leader.
leader.
Also, negative things.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're
yeah,
right.
there
Yeah,
it is. Okay, we got it.
we got it. Whew.
Complicated idea, yeah.
Gianni says, I reckon that leadership is something innate that can be improved and learned. Very nice.
Yes, yeah.
Very
I
nice.
reckon. So
Hmm.
British. I never say reckon. I'm
I
American, Johnny. Whenever I see reckon, I think, oh my goodness, that's so British. It's
That's the
perfectly
Queen's
correct. You can
English.
absolutely say it, Johnny. I just don't say
Gianni,
it.
Gianni is, he's a regular, and his English is really good. I've been noticing Gianni for a long time now. Mhm. And number two, think of a leader. Da, 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 da. I think this is zeroing in on a few leaders.
But I mean, I'm thinking of people like strong-willed and thick-skinned, like even during World War II, like
Mhm.
what's his name, Winston Churchill, who was,
Mhm.
I mean, in really difficult times in history,
Oh my God,
some
yeah.
leaders had to be incredibly strong, even
Mhm.
though maybe what
And
they were doing and
mhm.
thick-skinned, they had to
Mhm.
just say, "This is what I'm doing,"
Mhm.
but it was important for them to do that.
Mhm.
I don't know much about this person, but I know like in Europe, at least the little bits of, because I don't follow news and politics very much, but
Mhm.
Angela Merkel, who was, I think,
Mhm.
very important in the European, she's the president of Germany, I think, or
Mhm. Yeah.
was, I don't know. But I
Prime.
know that she, though, very firm, a very hard, strong person,
Mhm.
but she has helped Germany in some way. I'm making these like blanket statements that I do not know a lot about. So if you're watching and you disagree with me, please know I am saying, I am confessing completely that I know very little about what I'm talking about. So, but um, but just from what I've read, a very strong character, a strong
Mhm.
woman,
Yeah.
uh, who's had to who has often challenged things.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
I don't really have an opinion about her because I don't know enough about her.
Mhm.
In my country, so this I'm trying to, well, like Martin Luther King, but that might also
Mhm.
go with number four. Martin Luther
Exactly.
King was very, very famous
He was a good orator.
and very strong-willed, but
Mhm.
very, yeah, goodness, speech
Because
orators
his
for
speeches,
sure.
yeah. I mean, everybody quotes him.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
beautiful things. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah, I was very good with words.
Mhm.
Other people though who maybe even if just to be more recent, what was the girl, Greta Thunberg with the whole like the
Mhm. Environmental
environmental
issues.
current
Okay.
situation, a young person, but
Mhm.
who was very strong-willed.
Mhm.
Um,
Then you have
I don't
Malala
know.
Yousaf from
Oh yeah,
Pakistan. Yeah, got shot by the Taliban's,
also
survived,
yeah.
wanted to study, was nominated
Hmm.
for the Nobel Peace Prize. Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, just a young girl. She was a
Hmm.
teenager at that time, or she still is a teenager, I think. Okay, so great.
Yeah, I never follow. I mean, I know of her, but I should read more because I know her story is really inspiring and
Very
beautiful.
inspiring. Yeah, very, very. Johnny says, I don't understand why these two groups of qualities are considered separately, while in a good leader, there can be a mix of energetic qualities and level heading as well. Okay, understandable. Number three, because,
No,
yeah,
and I think,
no,
Johnny, I think
Johnny's
that they're
right.
just asking the question to
Mhm,
provoke an answer. So your
mhm,
answer, I think, is a very perfect answer that a
mhm.
lot of people are sort of mixed.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
It's true.
Or oftentimes we'll use the word, there's a really nice word, charisma.
Oh, nice.
It's quite a nice word in English that
Mm-hmm.
is often used for someone who, like, I mean, as much as this would be maybe a very negative example, but like Hitler, who's not maybe obvious, but
Or
Hitler
Osama bin
was
Laden.
known for being, but he was very charismatic. Or also, these people who were very, very,
Charismatic
I
people. Yeah,
mean,
they were
very
able to
charismatic.
inspire.
I mean, they obviously attracted so
Yeah,
many people to them,
absolutely.
even though maybe what they were doing was
Was
dangerous.
bad.
But
Yeah.
um,
But the
yeah,
ability
so
to
very
brainwash.
charismatic. Barack
Yeah.
Obama was a charismatic person.
Yeah.
He was very good at getting people to act. So
Mm-hmm.
because of an energy, it was calm, but it was
Mm-hmm.
very charismatic. So
In a more
yeah,
positive, if you have to look at it's a very positive characteristic. Maybe we can take Barack Obama as an example. He's a very
yeah.
charismatic personality. He has that spark, and he has that bounce in his walk. He has those things that make him what he is, right? So I would.
And even
Mhm.
though he was still serious as a president, I mean, he wasn't, like,
Yeah.
I mean, of course, what was fun with Barack Obama is at times, he was also very playful.
Hmm.
There were times he was very easy, but
Hmm.
when he needed to be serious, he
Hmm.
was serious, and level-headed, but still was able to, there was an energy through his speaking.
Yes, good vibes.
So,
Good energy. Yeah,
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Ooh, so for number 4, Ricardo has said Nelson Mandela. Yes, absolutely. Greta, obviously,
Greta Thunberg, yeah,
mentioned.
yeah, yeah.
Have you ever heard of Gandhi? Mahatma Gandhi?
Yeah, I was thinking Gandhi as well. I was
Yeah,
thinking Gandhi. I was
very forward
also.
thinking. Yeah. I liked the fact that he preached ahimsa, which also means non-violence. So that was
Ah,
his
right. Yeah,
strategy of defeating the Brits who had occupied India for 200 years. And 1947, they were able to get their independence in India after 200 years.
yeah.
And he was shot the next year. Did you know that?
That's
Assassinated.
unfortunately what often the same with like Martin Luther King in the United
Exactly.
States. Usually, it's very sad that the people who are trying to do these nice, good, like very humanitarian, good things for all people,
Mm-hmm.
there's so much hate that builds around those people. It's
Mm-hmm.
quite interesting. It says a lot about humanity, doesn't it?
We're
Unfortunately,
just a bunch of, uh, I don't want to use bad words.
often it seems. Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Huh.
true. And
Let's go. Oh, a
we
few
have,
more.
okay. Oh, good.
Go
Then
ahead.
let's go ahead.
But
No, I
no,
was talking
a
about,
few more things. Some nice.
oh God, this connection problem. Yeah, we'll go ahead with what you're
I
saying.
know. Finish your idea.
No, go ahead. Because I see we're short of
Okay.
time.
Leadership idioms. So here are just a few more. Oh yeah, we are a little bit of, but a few more expressions, and these are kind of interesting. We want to say, are they positive, neutral, or negative?
Mhm,
And they're all sort of related to either a leader or maybe acting on other people. So
mhm,
first, again at home, we need to go a little bit quickly. So if you want to
mhm.
try and tell us what you think, but Angela, we could go a little faster as we need
Yeah.
to. But
Okay. I'll quickly
um,
read it out. Okay. So ahead of one's time, cut someone some slack, lay down the law, put one's foot down, the blind leading the blind, light a fire under someone. Hmm. Is it positive, neutral, or negative? Ahead of one's time. I think it's very
and some
positive.
of these can be connected with those verbs we saw earlier.
Yep,
Yeah, ahead of one's
absolutely.
time, it would be positive.
Yeah,
And this
forward
would be
thinking.
what, like those words we saw, forward thinking, a
Mhm.
visionary. to say that, that person is ahead of his or her time. So
Great. Flavia, you're
I'll do
correct.
the next one. To cut someone some slack. To cut someone some slack, I would say, is sort of well, it's you usually say it in a negative way, like when someone is being too difficult. So like if yeah, like if a boss is always saying, no, you're doing that wrong, no, that's wrong, no, that's wrong, and you can see that the person is starting to feel bad because they don't feel like they're doing anything well. You can say, hey, cut
Go
him some
easy on him.
slack.
Yeah, go easy.
Be softer, go easy. Yeah, they're trying. Give them some slack. Or cut someone some slack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lay down the
Slack.
law.
What is just I was gonna say just real fast, like slack is like extra material. So so it's the idea that if you're pulling on something very, very hard, there's no room for improvement. There's no room for stretching because something is being worked too hard. So if you cut someone some slack, you're giving them some flexibility.
Yeah.
So it's the idea, let that person have some flexibility, some room. Anyways, keep going. Lay down the law. Go ahead.
Lay down the law. They say it's somebody said it's negative. Jenny thinks it's negative. And no, neutral, sorry. And Ricardo thinks it's neutral too. So lay down the law. Neutral, great. Put one's foot down, number 1, 2, 3, 4. It's neutral, according to Johnny.
Yeah.
Blind leading the blind.
Blind leading the blind is kind of
negative, yeah.
Negative. Because that's the idea that no one knows what they're doing. Everyone is blind. So no one can.
Yes.
And to light a fire, I would say that's positive, no?
Yep.
Yeah, because it's like to heat them up.
Yeah, to inspire someone.
And just so you guys know at home, even these neutral ones, in a certain context, might be negative. If you're angry, if your boss is angry and says, now I'm going to put my foot down, and that sounds like everyone's been doing badly, and now we have to become serious.
Exactly.
But in a neutral way, it can just be a way of like, I'm making a statement. I'm putting my foot down and I'm saying it's so these can function. The neutral ones maybe can also be negative in a particular context. In general, it just means sort of giving some instruction. All right. Well,
we're
we've
almost
reached the end.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Thank you so much for your participation. And we learned some really nice words today. And we hope to see you all soon. I got a rush for the next webinar. So I'll say bye-bye now.
Me too. Thank you guys for coming. Good participation. We'll see you guys next time. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.